It's a brand new week, which means it's time for a brand new Supernatural ranking. I am Navya, your neighborhood Supernatural fangirl, and this right here is my fangirl diary. So make sure that you're following along for all of the cool new content because you want to get that as soon as it's out. Today we're ranking all of the hunters in Supernatural, not just based on their hunting ability, but also what makes them interesting and compelling to watch. If you're interested in my full ranking of 37 of Supernatural's many characters, then go check out my other video, which is linked below in the bio. With that said, let's get into it. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of characters. We have 21 hunters to be precise. Some of them are coalitions, so we have like the British Men of Letters here and the Campbells, but we'll get into that when we get into that. Let's kick things off with everyone's favorite mom, Jodie Mills. I love Jodie. She is a solid hunter. I mean, she has her whole like sheriff background as well, which kind of makes her pretty amazing at the hunting gig, is because she's like already used, like law enforcement stuff is already like drilled into her. Like it's her and Donna make like pretty good hunters because they don't have to go through like the steep learning curve of like protecting themselves. So for Donna, I think I'm gonna put her in an A to start off with. Let's see, we might move her around, but to start off with, let's put her in A. Next up, we have Jo. So here's the deal with Jo. Jo is a pretty novice hunter in the entire, like in her entire run. Basically, up until like the end, she doesn't seem very much like a pro. But she does have like she's like a second generation hunter, so there's that going for her. I don't know. I don't think she's better than Jodie. So I mean, I'm gonna go and put her in a B, like a solid B. She's a good hunter. Okay, Claire. Claire has a big thing going for her because she's a kid and she has impulse control issues, so she's not like the best hunter. I wouldn't go so far to say that she's the worst hunter on this list, but this list has some pretty solid hunters and she doesn't really come step to step with them. So I'm not sure where Claire should go, but she shouldn't go higher than a C, I think, on this particular list. All right, let's put her in a C for now and see if we need to move her around. All right, so Donna's pretty good as well. Again, the same thing as Jodie, that Donna has like the law enforcement background, so there's a lot of stuff that she doesn't need to relearn while getting into the hunting gig. I do think that Jodie is a better hunter. Like something tells me that Jodie is a better hunter than Donna. So I feel like Donna should go into B. Eileen is Eileen's such a great character. She's so cool to watch. And she's a badass hunter. I intentionally wanted to start out with all of our female hunters because I just feel like there are so many solid, strong women in this show, and they need to be in the spotlight. Yeah, Eileen's a pretty great hunter. Especially given the fact that she's deaf. Just really solid all around. I mean, A for sure. Okay, next we've got Garth. I love Garth. Garth is one of my favorite characters. DJ Claus is just, I love everything about this character. It's my comfort character. How is Garth as a hunter? I mean, it says something that he gets bitten, right? Like that he becomes a werewolf. So I feel like maybe that should take away a little bit of his like hunter points. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put Garth in B because he's not as bad as Claire. He's definitely better. And he does end up being a hunter for a really long time before he transitions out of being a hunter and being a werewolf. So I think a B is a solid place for Garth to be. Okay, next up we've got Bobby. And I think given the fact that Bobby's a hunter for like the longest time, like decades, he has a lot of experience. He is probably one of the best hunters. I mean, I can't think of a reason why I shouldn't put Bobby in S. Because he's a pretty solid like wealth of information. And that gives him an edge. Bobby goes in S. And following Bobby, obviously, we've got Rufus. I like Rufus, but I feel like part of the whole hunting gig as it is in Supernatural is to be able to blend in and interact with people and just be a little bit more affable, which Rufus clearly lacks. So I would go ahead and put Rufus in B because I don't think that he's as good of a hunter as Bobby to be in the S tier, like for sure. But he's also not as good as like Donna or Eileen. Jodie or Eileen. So I think he should be. I think he's at par with Jo, Donna, and Garth. So yeah, B seems like a comfortable spot. All right, we've got Arthur Ketch coming up on deck. I I have a lot of thoughts about this character. I feel like he's a really good antagonist. He's a really good anti-hero. Like that vibe he has going for him. And I feel like I guess he's one of those people who's really good with like new toys. So when we see him with like all of the Men of Letters tools and things like that, he's really good at using those. But does that make him a good hunter? Um, yes, I think. I mean, he's not S tier, obviously, but I think he's at least A tier. Like he has to be. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put him in A tier. All right, now this ranking does not take into consideration how safe I feel with these people because I did not feel the same level of safety with like Arthur Ketch as I would do with like Jody Mills. So even though they are in the same tier, it's like it's not taking that into account because I feel like if I take that into account, Arthur would be like D. So let's put a pin in that particular criteria for now. All right, coming up we have Gordon Walker, a solid, very solid hunter. A little vicious, a little ambitious. Also does get bitten by vampires, so you know that takes off some of his like hunter points. But I don't know. I mean, I guess Dean also technically became a vampire, so I don't know. But also Dean was trapped into being a vampire by Sam, so let's not. Um okay, let's come back to Gordon Walker. A solid hunter. I mean, B tier at least. Let's pop him in there and see how that feels. Okay. Next up, we've got Chrissy. I feel like Chrissy and Claire kind of have the same problem. They don't have enough experience. They're very much driven by the death of their dads. They have, I think in a lot of ways, they're very similar archetypes. They're both driven into this hunting life because they lost their dad. They are overzealous. They lack impulse control. They have a lot of impulse control issues. They because they're young, they tend to find themselves in situations that they wouldn't if they had the benefit of life experience. So with Chrissy, I'd do the same thing. I'd put her in C. She's at par with Claire. In fact, she's the same character as Claire in many ways. All right, coming up, we've got Alan. Ellen's not as good of a hunter as some of the others just because she's like not done it, even though she is like part of a hunting family and she runs a bar. She's a strong, tough woman, but we haven't seen her hunt as much to like make any kind of definitive judgment about whether she'd be a good hunter. I have to go and put her in C or D because I'll put her in C. I feel like she's not D material just yet. Samuel Campbell, great actor, phenomenal portrayal of this character, and the character was portrayed by Tom Welling, aka Superman, in the Winchesters. So that's a fun fact that I didn't know until like very recently. Yeah, I mean he's again like hunting legacy happening here, but I mean like a solid hunter, not S tier for sure, but it's like, is he B tier? We see him lead more than we see him hunt. I'm gonna put him in B tier, but I feel like that's gonna anger some people. But what the hell? Samuel Campbell, B tier. Okay, next up we have the British Men of Letters. Again, with the British Men of Letters, it's the same thing that I was talking about with Arthur Ketch, which is that they are really good at their tools and technologies, and it's just great use of like modern capacities to improve hunting, which is just great. Like that's amazing. But are they good hunters in like the traditional, if is a monster gonna eat them kind of a sense? Which is a very crude way of putting it now that I say it out loud. But yeah, are they going to survive an attack? That remains to be seen. And I feel like British Men of Letters, I'd say overall as a unit, I'd put them in like C. Like they are not very good at like getting down and dirty. So C for British Men of Letters. The Campbells, this is easy for me. D. Even though they're like hunting legacy and all of that stuff, when they come together in season 6, yeah, I just feel like that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, Asa Fox, we gotta put this guy in because there was an entire episode about him and about the fact that about his like hunting journey and like his hunting legacy. Even though I feel like he's one of those hunters whose reputation precedes him, we don't see him hunt. And he doesn't die in a hunting accident, but we don't really see him hunt. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and put him in like B. He's like just I feel like he's just middle of the road. He's like a hunter who plays it safe, keeps it close to the west, and is lucky to have made it as far as he did. Okay, and now the woman who made Asa Fox, Mary. I have a lot of thoughts about Mary as a character, and I do talk about that in my character breakdown at least a little bit. But Mary as a hunter, she's ruthless. She's ruthless. She joins Men of Letters despite the fact that she knows that it's going to strain her relationship with Sam and Dean, because she believes in the cause and she is pretty good at it. And I mean, she's at least at par with Ketch, right? Like, we are not saying that Mary's a worse hunter than Ketch, so they should all kind of be together, even though I hate these two. Like, that's not even like, I hate them together, I hate them separately. Like, at least Ketch is kind of interesting to watch, but Mary's just insufferable. But from one insufferable character to another, John Winchester, take the stage, please. Um, what do we think about John? So, John really did set up Sam and Dean, so we can't really call him too bad of a hunter. I mean, he wouldn't be lower than an A. He's not a worse hunter than Mary, but I will say that Mary has a lot more experience being a hunter, though. Does she really? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, John has more experience being a hunter because he hunted for like 20 years or so before he passed away. Whereas Mary, while she was a hunter for most of her life, she also had a really short life. So percentage wise, obviously Mary is winning, but yeah, I don't. I would say John's a better hunter because he also trained two good hunters. So let's go ahead and put John up here in S. I don't want to do it, but he's a good hunter. Okay, Sam and Dean. Well, they're definitely going in the S tier because this is supernatural and we see them hunt the most, and they are phenomenal hunters who hunted for 15 freaking seasons. But let's actually talk about them. So I feel like Sam and Dean together make one really good hunter. Like, Sam has all of the research knowledge and skills. I mean, I guess it's kind of like, because I'm looking at the S tier and I feel like Bobby and John kind of have that vibe as well, or also Bobby and like Rufus, for instance, because you have one person in that partnership who is really good at like finding stuff out, reading things, just in general educating themselves about the lore, and then you have one person who is like the physical. I am good at fighting and I'm good at like action sequences. Um, so yeah, like I'm good with the weaponry. And with Sam and Dean, the distinction is very clear. We've got Sam, the researcher, and we've got Dean, the muscle. Um, with That's the same with like, I guess, John and Bobby as well. Bobby's more of like the I'll get you the information, but he's also good at the fighting bits. So yeah, I mean, so is Sam, to be fair. Um, so where do they end up? Oh well, yeah, they end up in the S tier anyway, because it's 17. Here we go. That's my final ranking. What do all of you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you do some of this differently? This is not all of the characters, and this is not even all of the hunters, but these are most of the major players when we are talking about the hunters. So let me know what you think. Drop your comments down below. Thank you for watching this video and for liking, sharing, and commenting, and I will see you next time.